Come on in, baby. Stream. Aha! There we are. Hey, everybody. We are live. This is Jimmy Doane Show. We do this twice a week live right here on the Curtis Elmore Facebook channel at 4 o'clock Wednesday and Sunday, and some other times. You never know. I'll post a timestamp copy of this video up on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Gab, Parler, a couple other places. And you can find us in audio format around the web if you search for Doane, D-O-A-N-E, Jimmy. You can find us. You can leave us a comment here. I'll try to check back halfway through and see if you got any comments, questions, answers, anything like that. Thank you for joining us. Today is the 25th day of October 2020. We are in the live studios. Jimmy is in Nueva York.
In New York.
Beach.
And okay, good. Well, we're telecommuting. That's right. We have a little note, I think, a note on New York also. It's interesting for some reason after they were all so proud and happy about killing their people back into the nursing homes, and they'd gone down to almost nothing, and now they're a big huge spike up there again.
Well, that's cases again. We'll see about that.
Yeah. It is just to dovetail on that before I get to a couple of little headlines here. In my local paper here today, the headlines on every place were the number of cases, everything about the number of cases, and no place could I find anything about deaths. None, zero.
Well, you can find it on the Johns Hopkins website.
It may be.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the newspaper. Our local paper here.
What are you looking for information in the news?
Yeah,
right.
What
are you thinking?
No, I mean it's stunning to me to go through this, and it was all exclamation point, frowny face. I mean all the.
Well, look, in their defense, what's the worst that could happen if they encourage people to be more careful? And I'll tell you what it is. The answer is some government guy makes it a law.
We're going to talk about that.
Right. Well, but you got more COVID? Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. Lots more. But before I get to that, let me just get this. Trump this morning went to New Hampshire at noon.
Okay.
And gave a 2-hour, Fidel Castro length.
We're going to talk about the debates, right?
Well, no, this is the.
No, I know. I said we're going to talk about the debates.
Actually, I don't have anything on the debates.
Well, I got something. But all right,
good. You can do that because this is very short.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm just stunned that yesterday Trump was out, and one of them he went to North Carolina, 85 degrees. He's sweating.
Right.
Then he runs up to Wisconsin. It was 32 degrees.
Okay.
And he's an hour and a half talking with 10,000, 15,000 people standing outside, waiting around while he did that. Today, he was supposed to be in New Hampshire at about, I think, around 10 o'clock in the morning. Didn't get there till noon, and there were thousands of people standing. This is New Hampshire. Now, I understand, they're used to the cold, they're polar bears, but there were literally 15,000 people standing outside. Well, let me finish.
We're in the middle of the election.
Let me just finish. Here's a guy who you can say what you want. There's some serious stamina here.
Yes, I will give him that. I mean, whatever cheeseburgers he's eating, man.
I don't know what it is, but I can tell you this.
For a guy who doesn't work out, he seems to be in great shape.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Now, contrast that with Heidi Bitey.
Biden's been out. You can't say what.
I'm trying to. Here's the deal. You're looking at somebody who is super robust versus somebody who has to stand 6 feet away from everybody and wear a mask. What's he going to do?
Look, man,
What's he going to do when he has to go with the other big heads with Putin and China and all that?
There's no evidence he can't do that stuff. He's not doing it. There's no evidence he can do it, but there's no evidence he can't do it either. Look, he stood up there and did the debate, and I mean, from my perspective, he won the debate clearly.
Really?
And I thought he won better than he won the last debate.
Really?
Yeah.
Boy, Mrs. Jimmy don't want to hear that.
Well, no, but I mean, that's just my honest, straight shot. When you look if you turned the sound off, Joe was having fun. He was laughing. He was comfortable. He was at ease. Trump seems uncomfortable. He seemed defensive. He seemed like the underdog and the loser at the end of the day.
So here's the question.
Yeah.
If there's a debate between, I don't know, Erdogan or Macron or whoever it is, he's going to debate Putin. Who's going to be the better sit across the table debater?
Well, I mean, from my perspective, I still pick Trump on that because he's more antagonistic. Trump is not a go-along type of guy.
No.
And that's who you want on your side. You don't want somebody who's going to appease the other people. We know
we had an appeaser.
I know. We had an appeaser in chief, and he appeased everybody. And the strategy was make nice, and everybody will be cool. But that doesn't work necessarily with your enemies. Sometimes they
even remotely
take
work.
advantage.
It never
of you.
works.
Well, I mean, look, if you're wrong about your enemy, and your enemy actually wants to be your friend, then appeasement's a good strategy.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
if they're an enemy, they usually don't want to.
Well, but
by definition, they don't want to be your friend.
Well, right, but see, now we got to distinguish between the regime and the people. You know, if you make nice with the people and open trade and do stuff like that, that's ways to establish relationships with the people, and yeah, it helps the regime out a little bit here and there. But I mean, look, I like the strategy that Trump uses when he deals with foreign leaders, which is you praise them in public, because you can't just throw somebody under the bus like Joe say, well, I hate Xi and I'm going to be tough on him. You can't say stuff like that and then go over there and expect to negotiate with them.
Right.
You have to build them up a little bit. You have to give them something.
The difference between Joe and say Reagan and Trump is that those two people are willing to walk out.
Right.
That's the deal. You know.
I totally agree with you. I mean, Joe is with the John Kerry crowd who let's give them everything that they want.
Well, he's with the Obama. Obama was the guy who was bowing to everybody.
I know.
And the thing is give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Sure.
Especially
a lot of them. Yeah.
That happens all the time.
I'm with you. I agree.
Look at what's his name that came back with peace in our time, and 2 weeks later, what's his name runs through Poland. Yeah, I mean,
full forward. That's exactly the criticism, and I totally agree with you on that. All I'm saying is that from an energy standpoint, Joe did fine at the debate. He had details. When he was asked a question, he was 1, 2, 3. This is what I'm going to do. I mean, forget about the fact of whether it was true or not, or correct or accurate. I mean, because I thought that there were some whoppers in there. I mean, like, hell, I lost my health insurance.
Well,
but there was a bunch of stuff. But if you just looked at the way that it was answered, Joe did a fantastic job, and Trump looked unprepared. He looked like he winged it, like he normally does.
I'm sure he did.
Well,
I'm sure he did wing it.
It probably did, and that's not a good strategy. Look, he's got great talent, but you practice. You go practice. You don't just go out and play the concert.
Well, of course, he feels like he practiced for how many years on The Apprentice.
I know, but he could have done targeted practicing.
I agree.
You knew there was going to be these specific things were coming out.
If he had watched West Wing,
there you go.
If he had watched West Wing on the debate prep, and he had his people out there sitting in the audience, and he's going to think, and he would start to talk, and they say, no, you can't,
shut up.
I'm telling you, it was just, to me, if
you can't say you're the least racist person in the room.
Why don't you watch West Wing,
right.
Please?
Yeah.
That's the great one.
Look, Trump was shooting from the hip, and that's what it looked like. It was ba-doo, ba-doo, ba-doo. His little phrases, his little catchphrases, his little pitches. We do the best. It's going to be the best, and stuff like that. But it didn't work next to prepared Joe, who had nice 1, 2, 3 things to say. He laid it all out. Like I said.
Well, here's what we're in for. Here's what we're in for.
What? Well, I got more debate stuff. If you know.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say was, I thought overall the debate was great. I mean, from my perspective, it was the best debate that we've seen in decades. I mean, since like the Reagan Mondale or whatever. I mean, it's been it was very good, I thought, because the moderator did such a fantastic job, I thought, in terms of
interesting.
She was asking the questions. Now they were fastballs, but they were right over the plate. I mean, right over the plate. You knew, here it comes, hit it, okay? So the criticism, I mean, here's the thing. The debate could have been way, way better, way much better, okay? And the way that they should do the debate is this. What they should do is, instead of having one middle-of-the-road moderator who's going to ask fair questions and do this kind of stuff, no, that's not what you do. What you do is, you get the rabid left people and the rabid right people. That is, you get the Sean Hannity on the right, and you get Rachel Maddow on the left.
Okay.
And I would do two. I would do 2-on-1. I would get Rachel and Chris Cuomo or Jim Acosta or anybody you can think of who's going to dig into the person, okay? And then you let them question the Republican guy.
Okay.
Okay, and then you get the Sean Hannity and whoever else, and you let them question the Democrat guy.
Oh, interesting.
And you go for the jug. You let them fillet and let it be an absolute war up there. I mean, literally have it be 2-on-1 discussion time where two people are throwing stuff at the guy, and he's got to answer back from the worst possible inferences. This is the when did you stop beating your wife types of questions over and over again. Let's hear, how do you do with that? How do you do with that? As opposed to just this, well, what do you think about this subject? And now what do you think about this subject? It was too easy. They were it just called for the talking points to come out. And Joe was ready with his talking points, and Trump was just trying to repeat the same shit. I mean, I just didn't think he did nearly as good a job, but anyway, that's the way the debate should be done in the future, and it'd be so much more fun, too. I mean, who wants to see a debate where you get nice questions? No, I want to see these guys back on their heels, struggling, fumbling, whatever it can be.
Well, there's going to be an awful lot of talking over.
That'd be fine, as long as...
God, I hate that.
Well, I know, and this one was great for that. I mean, there was not a lot of talking.
I know, well, you have a mute button.
Well, that's right, and they should do that. They should do that, but... you got to let the people speak a little bit, and you don't mind. There should be like this one had, which is segments where they can talk over and segments where they can't, and that way it gives it a little bit of.
The thing I don't like is when I've seen something like that, even when the nice guy, when Bill O'Reilly is interviewing somebody who's friendly to him, he still talks over him. He's.
Well, that's why I would say you don't.
I'm going like, why do you do that? I mean, talking over is just so makes no sense at all. You've got to find a way to.
Well, no, look, as well as I do. If you start to talk over.
Now I'm going to talk.
Yeah. If you start to talk over somebody and they shut up, and then you get to say your point. I mean, you've made your point and they've made nothing. I mean, there are times when it works. And again, we're not trying to get really substance out of these debates, because if you want substance, you can go read their websites. You can go look at the stuff they've already done. If you want to see what they're going to...
that substance?
Well, whatever it is. I mean, if it's not there, then it's not there. But at least you know what they... Look, this is what... When they were in power, this is what they tried to do. Okay, that's your substance. You want to see who the person is, that's what the debate is for. And to me, you're not going to see that with softball questions or even... I mean, like we had in the first stupid
fair
debate.
Questions.
Yeah, right. And then the first debate, which was we had one rabid questioner on Trump and then a softball Stephanopoulos on Biden. That didn't work at all.
No.
But this was better. Still, they can go one whole nother level into...
Could they get somebody, a questioner, that was well respected by both of them?
No. Impossible. That's what I'm saying. That's what they tried to do.
Not Ron Paul?
No, it does. No, look. There's always going to be. That's like trying to find a nonpartisan committee.
God
to do something. Yeah, right. No. We're gonna bring in some apolitical people. Bullshit. You're not.
You bring in Jesus.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And let me tell you something. Even Jesus would have an opinion on stuff, because that you can't get away from
Santa Claus.
No. Sorry, nobody. No, the only way you can do it fairly is to have the worst people question each people, and then see how you do. Because then you get the crossfire.
Okay.
That's the way I'm saying.
Okay.
Do it.
All right, well, that's good. We might want to hear from somebody about that, because it'll be kind of interesting to see. Now, here's the deal. Never going to happen.
It might. It would make for great TV. Think about it. I mean, who wouldn't watch that? I mean,
that's true.
So, and what's the alternative? Go back to the old stupid debates that we used to have, where Walter Cronkite. Oh, well, what do you think about the blah blah? Well,
one thing we've got to look forward to, my guess is. In 4 years, we're probably going to have another one of those 8 people, 10 people on stage debates, which are, of course, the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Right, yeah.
But it'll get down to, or two, in 4 years, it'll get down to 2 of them again, I guess. I have no idea who they are yet.
Right, well, that's assuming that the United States survives.
That's true. That's a big assumption. I did notice a couple things. The people, Joe Rogan has come out for Trump.
Really?
Yes. Joe Rogan has come.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did he do that? During the Kanye
yesterday,
thing
the day
or something?
before, something.
He interviewed Kanye a couple days ago.
Could be. And
Kanye's running.
oh yeah, okay. That could be.
I kind of expected him to support Kanye. Joe, I love Joe. I loved you, Joe. I love you. But I'm not voting for who you're voting for.
Yeah, well, that's we talked about that before, and that is when the Hollywood elites come out and say, this, that, the other thing, you're thinking,
thanks.
Yeah, thanks, but go away. I loved you in the movies.
That's right.
It's like I was watching a thing the other day, Kevin Spacey in a movie, and he's great. Really good. So but he's been totally ostracized and everything.
Well, he's beaten the crap out of those allegations.
Oh, is that right?
Oh man, one after the other, he has pounded them into the dirt. Yeah, and they have all, I believe, now rescinded. So I don't think he's under any other suspicion of anything at this point. I think he beat 3 different accusations.
Well, we have to do a show on that someday.
Yeah. Well, it only makes sense because he did those weird, creepy, in-character public service announcements, and there was no way he was. If he was doing those announcements, either he was totally guilty or he was totally innocent, and you didn't know because he's such a good actor. But
right, he is an actor, and that's what you have to remember is these people, and that's what always gets me. Here's another little branch out thing is when they're talking about
when the actor's telling you who they're voting for, they're acting.
Well, yeah, right. That's number one. But number two, a sincere actor.
Right. Oh yeah.
Talking oxymoron.
Well, it's like they say, sincerity. Once you learn how to fake that, then you're good.
That's it. But what I like is not so much that, but the is where they were saying that they needed to have actual people that are like the character.
I know. God.
Are you crazy? They're actors, for God's sakes. That's what
There's
they do.
a reason why it was. It's so that entire movement. I can't believe the Hollywood.
And it was out of Hollywood.
I know, that's the thing. I can't believe that they embrace it in the.
Don't you see?
Tiniest.
Here, take gun, shoot head.
Seriously, what are you thinking? Oh, what we're going to do is we're going to have a non-singer sing the stuff because they're a real person, and in the movie, the person is a real person. They're not a singer, so we don't want it to be good.
Anyway,
it's like reality TV, reality movies or something.
Let me just finish on my announcements here before I get to something else
before
about
we start.
Joe Biden. Yeah, right. Before we start, right? Exactly. My Trump sign stayed another night, which I thought was great.
Wait, we've lost 2 now.
Yeah, we have lost 2, but the third one is out there.
Ah, okay.
And it's still there, so I thought that was some kind of a
meddling kids.
Yeah, where's that? So it only has to stay out there for another 9 or 10 days.
Do you still have the outdoor deer camera thing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you, interesting you should ask. I bought this thing on eBay, and it was like, you can't believe, and they showed pictures of it and everything like that, and it looked like one of a regular, but it was like $28.
Right.
How can you lose on that? Well, I'll tell you.
Because it doesn't do anything.
It stopped. No, it worked great for about 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
And then I think what happened was it was weatherproof, but it wasn't.
Right. Okay.
And so it totally stopped.
Yeah. That first one I got was a pretty high quality one. That was a nice.
And where's that one?
I don't know. I left it over there at the studio or something some years ago. And you used it at one point to capture the raccoons and possums and stuff.
Yeah, and the foxes. Yeah.
Right. But
I got a lot of stuff. Well, I've been thinking
that
about
would be great just to have a picture of some kid. It's some kid running up there to steal the sign.
Right. Well, I thought about a couple different ways to do it, and of course, I had at least one person say, "Here's what you do: you wire it."
With a fishing line or something?
Well, not only a fishing line, but a house current.
Oh shit! No, you don't want to do that.
Well, you see, it was funny. They showed a guy that was running in.
Yeah.
And then he goes and runs away. He didn't get
we played that video.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was thinking to myself, how do you do that? And I was thinking, one of the things when I was growing up, I'll never forget. I got an original Model A or Model T, spark coil. Which runs off like a 6-volt battery. Okay. And you'd have it, fired up. So,
but it was way too close to advising someone to commit a crime.
No. But you can't get killed with it. It's a very
you can't get killed with. Still, it's probably
all right. All right. Well, I thought you know, I was thinking about something. If you did,
I didn't think you could get killed with it.
come out there to
Right.
a corpse.
He had a heart condition.
So that's great. Okay, here's what I want to talk about a little bit.
Okay.
When you're talking about what, you know,
Oh, and by the way, anybody of you people who are out there encouraging people to take signs, you're setting up kids to have horrible criminal records and to lose their futures. So don't encourage that shit.
well, when you think about it, there's all kinds of everything that can graduate very quickly into a felony.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Well,
trespassing and stealing are right. Well, the thing about it is,
it's election interference.
forgive those who trespass against. No.
Yeah, right.
No,
Well, yeah, you do.
stealing is one of those. Isn't that one of those things in the 10?
Yeah, it
Okay.
is.
And,
It is. In the 10, the big 10.
The big
That's
10.
right. But even so, like you said, that's not even the big crime. It's election interference. I mean, I would imagine that that's a more serious charge. But even so, you don't want that on your record when you're applying to college.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. You're you could go. I would guess. God, you go in the 8th grade, for instance, and it still shows up when you go to apply for college.
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean, they have a juvenile thing, but
Oh, that's true. They do.
yeah. But even
Now, if you're a senior and you're 18,
well, there's that, but there's also the concept of a whole bunch of that juvenile stuff has been erased now. I mean, if you apply to law school, you're damn sure giving them your entire juvenile record.
really.
Oh yeah, and there's no exemption.
Why?
I know.
I mean, give me a break. You know, here, if I want an
You're
attorney
six.
I want a killer
Right.
attorney. You know,
Yeah.
if you're out there, doing, I don't know, bully things.
Well, look,
that's my attorney.
Well, look, it's not so much that from my perspective is look, if we're going to say that they're kids and they're using bad judgment, then why are we looking at it for anybody? I mean, if you're not going to look at it for every normal day person, why is it then somehow relevant? It's like using a lie detector test, which is not admissible in court. Because we're going to use some extra scrutiny. Well, no, it's not. It's extra noise, is what it is. I mean, to looking at somebody's 6-year-old record, that's noise. That's not telling you who the person is anymore.
Well, they don't allow that in court, do they? In jury trials, a lot of that stuff.
No, like I said, that's the cutoff for all normal processes
Yeah.
is 18. But if I'm confident there's applying to all kinds of things where you have to reveal your juvenile record and charges that were dismissed, for example, and all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So-
even.
So
I remember
don't-
from the Rockford files, he was forgiven by the governor or something like that, and they still brought it up all the time.
Right. They do. That's exactly how it works these
He was
days.
pardoned.
It's on your permanent record.
But I was pardoned. I don't care.
Yeah, right. Well, you were charged.
Yeah, that's
It's like,
right.
no. You got to go with the pardon.
Well, here's what you're in for. I talking before. Either you've got a go-to guy who can attract a crowd in literally freezing weather. 10,000, 15,000 people outside waiting around for 2 or 3 hours for you to show up and talk and everything. That's okay. That's
yeah, but Biden, he didn't want to do big crowds because they didn't want a super spreader.
Right. Okay, I understand that, and of course, I guess they're going to do contact tracing on 15,000 people to find out how many extra COVID things.
What you do is you do a train tour, and you tell everybody just go out to the track, but don't stand with everybody else. Just be on the track, and then you just roll down the track and wave.
They used to do that.
No, I know.
I mean, I remember I watched pictures of who was the guy.
And this is Amtrak Joe we're talking about.
Yeah, Amtrak Joe. That's right.
So, I mean, he certainly can make the phone call to Amtrak and say, I want to be on every train this week. And then he doesn't have to use up any stamina or anything. You just sit on the back of the train and wave, and every once in a while you stop.
But he can stop every once in a while.
If the crowd looks puffy or whatever, you stop and you
if it doesn't, you roar
embellish.
through.
That's it.
That's right. And of course, the question is when they call ahead and they say, Joe, we've got 300 people here. I don't know, you need about 500.
Switch tracks.
Yeah, that's right, switch track.
That's it.
But anyway, here's what you're in for with Joe. Joe has laid out his detailed plan to fight coronavirus as new infections soar. Now, the headlines yesterday and today were record-setting.
Right in the Rust Belt up there.
Record-setting.
Yeah.
They're going through the
Wisconsin,
ceiling. I mean,
Idaho.
I forget what it was, 88,000 or 120,000 or whatever it was, not seen since March or April or something, and so forth. Joe has come out and said, "Here's what I'm going to do."
Okay, now just for everybody who didn't tune in last week, the president is not in charge of health. Okay, the president is not in charge of health. Your states are in charge of health. So, all right, go ahead.
Well, not so much.
Well, let's see what he's going to say.
I'll reach out to every governor in every state,
Okay,
red and
there he
blue,
goes.
as well as mayors and local officials during the transition to find out what kind of support they need and how much they need. I'll ask the new Congress to put a bill on my desk by the end of January with all the resources necessary, and that both both our public health response and our economic response can be seen through the end. And here's his multi-step plan. Masking. Biden would go to every governor and ask them to impose a mask mandate.
Okay. Well, at least he's not doing it from the top.
However, in case you don't know this, and I'm sure you do, one way when you have a, quote, non-mandate from the government is they bribe the hell out of you.
Well, look, there's a difference between asking and cajoling or leveraging or forcing or extorting. I mean,
But that's what this is. You can ask. They asked people during one of the oil crises, for instance, we'd like you to reduce your speed limit to 55 miles an hour, or you get no road money.
Right, that's not asking.
I know it's not.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
Don't even use the word ask when you say
But that's what I'm saying here. He says he's going to ask, and I don't believe him. He's going to mandate it one way or the other. We're going to withhold. And look, Trump has already done this. I'm going to withhold funds from cities that are not friendly. If you're a sanctuary city or whatever it is, I'm withholding funds.
Right. Well, that's silly.
And well, you say that, but I'm telling you, he said he will also mandate masks in all federal buildings and all interstate transportation.
Mm-hmm.
So that means he'll mandate masks if you want to go to a federal building for any reason, okay, or if you want to travel interstate on a train or something, or on a truck. Buses, that's interstate commerce. That's, Wickard v. Filburn.
Yeah.
We're going to make you wear a mask on the damn bus.
Right.
So that's his. That's the So anyway, then testing. The former vice president said he would launch a national testing plan aimed at conducting as many tests each day as the U.S. currently performs each week. 7 million tests a day. He would also build lab capacity, hire a national corps of contact tracers. This is a public whatever it is, and ensure that tests are free and accessible regardless of immigration status.
Okay.
Okay. Personal protective equipment. Biden intends to use the full power of the Defense Production Act, which Trump did, to drive the domestic manufacturing of masks, gloves, gowns, and other equipment, including ample N95 masks for healthcare workers.
Let me just butt in here and say, you talk about asking the governors. You don't think they're watching the news? I mean, they already know what the options are. What Joe literally just asking them gives them zero additional information that they don't already have at their command. And you see what I'm saying? Like what good does it do? If let's say I was to ask you, would you wear a mask? I'm not offering you anything. I'm not doing anything for you. I'm not giving you any information. All I'm saying is it would be good for me if you would do this.
Look, I'm handing out money here.
Right, I know. You're saying
I'm handing out money here, but here it is.
Right.
Wear a mask.
Right.
No, sorry. That's what they do.
Okay.
That's exactly what the government does across the board.
Right.
It is out and out bribery, and you don't have to take the money. When I see, for instance, here locally, that our governor, for instance, it was starting with our previous governor, didn't take the Medicaid money.
Right.
And there was a big hoorah. Well, that was federal money. That's not our money. That's federal money. What are you talking about? It is, if you can't support yourself or you can't take care of yourself, that's what I object to about our city here. We get all kinds of money from Tallahassee. What do you think? That's not my money?
Right.
And so...
Right, you take the money, but, I don't know that I would do the stuff. And we've talked about this before in terms of bribes from the state, from the federal government.
Well, what do you mean you don't do it? They have mandates.
Thanks for the money. Thanks.
No.
What are you going to do?
We'll take it back?
How?
Yeah, we spent it.
Right.
Let me put it this way. The people are, especially our local people, and I guess that most local, like our mayors and our people, our local functionaries, even the functionaries in Tallahassee that get money from the federal government, they at least, I don't care who you are, you got to pay lip service to that stuff. And what usually happens is the money gets wasted.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Well.
No, it does. I mean, it all gets eaten up in the bureaucracy. There was, I forget what it was, but my point is that, as you well know, the government does. The taxes are not voluntary, and
right.
and the government doesn't ask. You can call it whatever you want, but it's a perversion of the word.
Yeah, you can't call it whatever you want. Yeah.
So anyway, then he wants uniform. This is talking about the entire country from Alaska to Maine, from Hawaii to Maine. Uniform scientific opening guidelines. Scientific opening guidelines.
Well, the good news is there's no conflict in the science.
Right. No, I know. That's all the scientists right. 96%.
That's
okay.
right.
So the Biden administration, he said, would provide, quote, provide consistent, reliable, trusted, detailed, nationwide guidance and technical support for reopening safely.
Boy,
and
why did somebody else think of that?
Yeah, I know, right. I mean, Biden also said the government would provide consultations and technical advice, quote, so people have a place to turn with their questions. I mean, what? So what we're talking about here is a nationwide. None of this Governor DeSantis here opening up and somebody else closing down their state. None of that. It's all going to be uniform, federally enforced. If you think,
no, it's not. I mean, no,
I know it's not. But my point is, here's his plan. His plan is to clamp down. Look, they're talking all the time about how Trump is Hitler.
Right.
I mean, look.
Well, look, clearly, I think anybody who is worried about overreach from the federal government should weigh the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Yeah, and I'm with you on this. I mean, clearly, Trump came out and said, look, I'll show up in Seattle or Portland when you call.
Right.
I mean, he easily could have instituted martial law at any time during those riots and stuff. They could have flown.
Hell, Eisenhower, presidents have done this before.
Right.
They sent in the National Guard to walk the little girls into school.
Right. And so clearly Trump is hesitant to do that kind of overreach.
Right.
Doesn't sound like Biden is.
No, that's the thing.
Right.
This is one of those things, be careful what you wish for.
And wait till Kamala gets her hand.
That's the other thing. Now that, of course, I'm not even going to go there yet because when you look at the command that AOC and the squad have, for instance, over some stuff, it's going to be scary across the board. And of course, save us if for some reason is for some reason that they get the Senate in a week or 10 days or something like that. That'll be interesting. So anyway, treatments and vaccines. Biden's plan would put an emphasis on equitable and widespread delivery of therapeutics in the near term and eventually a free coronavirus vaccine. Biden acknowledged that even if a vaccine found to be effective, it will still be many months before it's widely available. Now, if you think for 2 seconds that it's not going to be mandatory...
Oh, yeah, maybe so.
No.
Well, I can tell you this. I have top secret information.
Okay. Tell us.
Now
it's not going to be secret anymore if you blab it.
Yes, everybody.
Just between us.
That's right. Here's the deal. I third or fourth hand, I know of somebody who has said that the companies, at least one of the big companies, already has a vaccine.
Really?
Yes, and a billion doses of it.
Really?
Yes, and now it's just a question of trying to get it approved at this point. One of the big major companies is going to announce any day now they've already got something. So we'll see.
Let's assume for the moment. I don't want to go. I don't want to spill water on this quite yet.
Okay.
Let's assume that this very reputable, totally reputable. We've done everything you can possibly imagine, and the success rate is 80%.
Right.
You know, we're above the 50%.
Killing it.
80%. My God.
When we say killing them, we mean
killing them. That's right. And so now, come and get your shot here, right here, and it's free.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, forget the fact that Gilead or whoever it was, Johnson and Johnson or whoever it was, just got untold billions of profit. Now, now let me put it this way.
Oh, and that's
let me put it this way: when they announced that, do you think the market's going to open up a little higher on that stock?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing I was going to say a minute ago. I lost my train of thought, which is, Biden's out there talking about we're going to make PPP available for everybody else. Look, all you have to do is get the hell out of the way, because the market will deliver all those goods to people in exactly the proportion that they demand them with their dollars. And the problem is that we've got stupid things that no price gouging and just stupid regulations all over the place preventing the market from operating.
Well, it is interesting, but even when the market does, the problem is when you send phony signals, and that I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. There was at least something that was produced, and they're sitting there and they're sitting with all this extra stuff.
Well, the ventilators.
The ventilators, yeah. I mean, we were tasked to provide 1 million, and suddenly nobody needs them anymore.
Well, that's what happens when you do a top-down production instead of from the demand up.
What's interesting, you should mention this, of course, one of the huge monster failures that shows this and has been around for literally probably maybe even a century, is the agriculture departments subsidizing things. We've got warehouses full of cheese, for God's sakes. I mean, warehouses.
Yeah.
Well, look, and you talk about waste.
All of the people who believe that the government can just control the supply and demand just by deciding. I invite you to take a look at Coca-Cola this week. Coca-Cola has 500 products.
And they're throwing away how many?
Like 200 or 300 of them. They're culling it down to a mere 200 products.
Yeah.
Now, if you were in charge of Coca-Cola or drinking fluids, would you ever in your wildest conception think, people will want 500 or even 200? Like, no way. And it's just people's inability to see the demand.
I would like to know what they are, because maybe you could go out and buy one, and and you sell it on eBay. And
I looked at the list. There's some interesting things on there. It's mostly foreign stuff. I mean, it's the third Coke Light, carbonated free or whatever.
Okay. Right. Well, they've tried
clear.
Everything. Did you know that the second? Let's see. The second most recognized words.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Mm-hmm. You know what the first is?
Okay.
Okay, that's right. I mean, can you imagine? You go to the Tibetan highlands.
It's white power. I mean, okay.
Okay, that's right.
That's right. Oh,
okay.
Did you see him come after the thumbs up the other day?
Oh yeah. God. It's just unbelievable. So anyway, it's just interesting. This little article said that, and this is what I was bringing home, was that Biden's what he's saying is, I'm going to force you basically one way or the other we're going to clamp down nationwide, 100%, 320 million people. You're all the same, and they're not. And you look at the difference between,
not even you look from sea to shining sea. I mean the difference between New York City and Boise, Idaho.
Well, that's right, and Idaho, right? I mean, it's
one size fits all.
Yeah, one size fits all, and that's what it, really, when you think about it, it has never worked. And like you say, the market, Coca-Cola's got 500 products.
Right.
What are they doing? They figured out that in the steppes of Tibet, you use this one.
Exactly.
It's not one size fits all.
No.
It's so funny.
The market worked. Well, anyway, all right. So what else is Joe going to do?
No, that's it.
Okay.
That's what my point on this.
There's your plan.
That he's got a plan, and it's a bullet point plan.
Right.
Here,
did Kamala sign off on it? Just
didn't say.
Okay.
Didn't say. Now the other question, of course, is that I've mentioned is that when you go into the booth, and you're going to ask yourself, I've got a guy who will step out and go any place in the United States and give an hour and a half or 2 hours talk if I have to.
And he's immune.
He's immune, and he's got the stamina of God.
A bull.
I mean, really, seriously. I mean, here's a guy that has really got it, as opposed to somebody who hides out with a mask on. Look, and that guy has got a plan to subjugate the entire United States. At least, Trump is reducing regulations, has taken a whole bunch of them off.
There's your choices.
There's your choice. And I think that what you have to look at is, you have to look at Kamala. Number one, you really have to look at Kamala.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't.
I mean, although Joe he's gone a long way to alleviate my fears of his deterioration in the last couple of debates.
Okay.
I mean, he's still definitely not the Joe from 10 years ago.
He's not. Well, not only that, he had to hide out for 4 days to do the debate. He didn't
necessarily have to hide out. He went and did the prep. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do.
All right, so he's gonna take a trip to see Xi in China. So he does 4 days of prep. Okay, I guess I can understand that.
Yeah.
Why don't you learn a little Chinese while you're about it?
No
Xi, whatever. So that's. And one of the things that I like here, we're going to see what Governor Cuomo has to do about this. The last little headline. I pulled off a whole bunch of headlines before I came over here, but I didn't put them on the sheet here. That'll maybe be for Wednesday's show. New York becomes the fourth state to top 500,000 COVID-19 cases as Dr. Gottlieb warns U.S. hitting a dangerous tipping point. So they're talking about re-closing down. He is New York City. Well, again, this shows to Goya that the people have. There's been this. You send them all to the nursing home, they die, and then they come out, and so you start to open up, and then you get. Of course, you unfortunately have a big conflict between De Blasio and Cuomo. Who does what, and. But there was a
Cuomo wins that battle.
I know, obviously, but it's interesting to me that I was seeing that I don't know if it was in New York, or there was some jurisdiction here in the States where they had lost literally 90% of the businesses.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's going to take a while. I'm reminded a little bit of, and this is one of the things that happened in Germany after the Second World War. They were literally they'd been bombed into oblivion, and when the United States general, whatever it was, the ruler left for a day or two to take a vacation, and that's when Konrad Adenauer or whatever says, okay, it's all open, forget it, forget all the rules and regulations.
Right.
Literally,
right.
free market.
That's it.
And that's what, and that boom started on that day. And you think about it, they were bombed into submission, and it was, I don't know, it wasn't that long after that they were one of the booming economies. And of course, when you're
at some point, somebody's got to rip the Band-Aid off and let people go.
Exactly.
But they're still going backwards here. This is France. You can see this cop's going around enforcing the social distancing rules, and he's basically
who's the little blue cop down there in the right-hand corner? Oh, that's you.
Yeah, right. That's it. So, and then, but it's. Oops, I got the sound up maybe too high here. They're speaking French, but he's basically saying, you guys are all in violation of social distancing, and so get the hell out. And they basically just clear out all the patrons of this restaurant because they're all like, what the hell, dude, and the cops are like, I'm just doing my job.
Right, I'm just doing my job.
And it's like
Nuremberg trials, I'm just doing my job.
There you go. So, and look, here the bottom line is this. You guys are adults. And if the adults want to risk themselves, then they should be allowed to do that. And if you think you're vulnerable, if you think your grandma's vulnerable, she's an adult, and they need to protect themselves and let these other people freaking go out and live.
Had to leave their drink on the table.
That's it. Full drinks right there. They just cleared everybody out. And
I tell you, I swallowed mine down.
Well, I mean, who knows? It's like the middle of the afternoon or something. I don't know. But
well, it's interesting to go with that. We should have a video here of Gainesville, because they are really upset about the students who are packing the bars and places.
I don't know. I mean, I was out the other night. I went out to do some comedy. I didn't see too many people out. And
it was what was it? Let me just think.
Certainly nothing like it used to be.
It's pretty close. Well, we were out. Was it Saturday? No, was it Friday night? We were out. And I was out Friday, I guess it was Friday night, I think. And it was mind-boggling how many people were out. I mean, it was packed. because they're all it was Friday night. Let's see, last night was Saturday night, but they had in the Gainesville paper today. They had pictures.
Okay.
And the pictures were of literally hundreds and hundreds of kids together and stacked up, lined up to these different bars. And what's happened is the University of Florida administration is calling for to have their administrative cops go out and start saying we're going to kick you out of school if you don't social distance and wear a mask and all that kind of stuff.
If you're just out at some random bar off campus?
Yep. That's what they're talking about. Seriously, that's what they're talking about. A lot of complaints. There's a lot of people that, for instance, there are the certified horrible, what I call them, the sheeple people that are in a dorm, say, and their roommates are not wearing masks, and they're saying, "I'm scared. I'm going to die. My roommate is going to kill me," and so forth. She's not wearing a mask, and I'm reporting her. So
right.
that they are encouraging ratting out people.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, when you're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they're not used to ratting people out.
We talked about this for a couple of months ago, and there's no question that's just a horrible, horrible strategy. It pits people against one another. It creates this power dynamic that's stupid and ridiculous and lopsided. I mean, there's so many things wrong with that policy.
Well, you have to understand that the most totalitarian prisoner places, stalags, whatever you want to call them, do this thing. If you violate, we're going to kill 10 of your buddies.
Right.
I mean, they do it all the time. I mean, this is a way of enforcement, and it's pretty damned effective.
Oh yeah, it is. It is, but it's totalitarian. I mean, and it's certainly not freedom.
No,
it's certainly nothing to do with personal responsibility.
No.
Or American.
That's right, and that I think is it's a shame that's where we've come.
Well, like I still think people are reacting out of fear from this whole thing.
No question.
I mean, look, when I was out the other night, I mean, I was at an outside bar, okay, and this is a tent, outside, full breeze, everything, and half the people were still wearing masks.
Well, see, the problem is the breeze blows the COVID.
Right, yeah, it blows
it saturates everybody. That's right. Yeah, you see, that's the real problem. You can no, it's exactly
so
right.
Look, if you're uncomfortable, then you should wear a mask. But again, people have just got to get some time.
Well, the other thing is, we don't have to go too far back to say that what we're going to do is we're going to level the curve, and the only reason we're talking about leveling the curve is we don't want the hospitals to be overwhelmed. We don't care about you dying. You're going to die. Okay, right. You're all going to die. Right. It's just sooner rather than later.
Exactly.
That's all. So that's all we care about is the hospitals. Okay. Right. Now, and it'll take us a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks, maybe a month. I don't know.
That's what they said.
I know.
And that's what we did.
6 months later, and now they're talking the middle of next summer.
Well,
look at the stuff that's been canceled into next year.
Well, I'm thinking some of those things will come back.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I mean, look, and the places that are overwhelmed right now are the other places who hadn't been hit before. It's Wisconsin and those places out there. It's not the same hot spots that it was before. Now, you are getting some.
New York is.
Well, I was just about to say there is some, but I mean, New York's like an international community. I don't know if you can compare that to anything, but we'll see. I mean,
well, that's the whole thing. We'll see.
Yeah, there's enough new activity for you still to be cautious, but still, it doesn't matter. I saw some guy posted today. They were all upset. They posted a video. In fact, I think I have it here of a bunch of people marching in protest of the masks, and their big complaint was, "Oh my God, these people are horrible, horrible people because they're not helping." And it's like, look, you again, I just get back to personal responsibility. I don't care what anybody says. Personal responsibility is the way to go. And what that means is that if you're worried about yourself dying, you stay home and you don't tell other people what to do. Now, finally, this is a bunch of people in New York, and the Antifa people or whoever they are ripping flags off of people's cars, and they're throwing paint on their cars and stuff like that. Now, what's good about this is finally, at the end of this video, what you see is some police enforcement. That is, the police roll up, this guy in the red MAGA stuff starts identifying to the police who it was who vandalized his car, and the police actually arrest the guys.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think we're beginning to turn a corner back into protection from vandalism. I mean, your concept of somebody else's irresponsibility doesn't give you the right to go vandalize their property. And
well, I can understand a lot of things. Why didn't he keep a spare Biden hat in his car and take off his MAGA hat and put on his Biden hat and see what happens? It's like a repellent.
Yeah, well, except it wouldn't. You know how it is. At this point, I mean, if you are
Black Lives Matter?
Listen, if you're on that side and you think that's going to protect you from the crowd, good luck.
Yeah, good luck, right.
Because let me tell you something. When they get done with us, they're coming for you.
Well, they have, look, this has been around literally for a century.
Right.
First they came for the...
Of course. And not only that, but what's hilarious is, and you can go back and look at the French Revolution, and you'll see that the second people executed were the revolutionaries.
Right.
I mean, first we lop off all their heads, and then we lop off all our heads.
That's right.
And then whoever's left is in charge.
You did know that the guy who invented the guillotine was guillotined.
Yeah, exactly. Now, it doesn't get any more clear than that.
No, it doesn't.
And let me tell you something. These people, if they'll turn on each other before it's all over, because it's an irresponsible approach to public policy to just go out there and scream and yell and beat shit up. That you can't do that. That's bad.
Well, the problem
wrong,
is
criminal.
once the Antifa people have vanquished, shall we say, their quote enemies, then who's left?
Right.
Themselves.
Right.
You see this mostly. You see this mostly in Islamic religions, where you require this, that, and the other thing, and so you do it all. Not good enough.
Right.
Now we have a new thing. So and unfortunately, that's the same kind of thing that is happening here to some extent. And this is, it comes out with these new rules, and you can ask all you want, but it ain't.
Yeah, well, no. Well, around here, there's not so much asking. All right, let's see. Is that all you got?
I'm done.
I see you got nothing in your hands there.
Nope.
Let me just look over
See,
here.
look at this. Nothing up my sleeve.
Oh, let's check our feed here and see if we're still on. Hey, Kenny. Dr. Campbell information. Let's see. No political stuff in his. I don't know what that's about. Have you guys discussed the Giuliani controversy from the Borat movie? Nope. We haven't done that because. We'll
have to look at it.
Yeah, well, that's what he's reaching his hand down his pants. The allegation is that he's, doing the
Jeffrey Toobin.
Yeah, exactly. But he says he's just tucking in his shirt, and it kind of looks like he's leaning back on the thing.
Yeah, everybody has it.
But whatever, I don't care what he's doing. He's not.
He's not
in charge of anything.
Yeah, well, like you say, it's like it's like assholes. Everybody has it.
That's it. Okay, so let's see. All right, we did the Joe, all this stuff. Election. Yup. Well, at some point, and I guess we'll skip it for now. But this I want to talk about just real quick. This I find amazing, but it's true. Apparently, we've talked about civil asset forfeiture in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, at this point in the universe, the amount of money from civil asset forfeiture has now passed the amount of money. Let's see if I can. It's going to show up. Okay, has now passed the amount of money that is taken from people in burglaries.
Well, good. Well, it's good to know that civil asset forfeiture is not burglary. So it's funny. It's funny how they did civil asset forfeiture. It's not theft.
Oh yes, it is.
I know, but this. One of the things that you learn are the acronyms or the way governments do this all the time with the
keywords.
The keywords. It's just hysterical.
You forfeited that asset.
That's right.
We didn't take it from you.
Well, it's like ask.
Right, exactly.
You know, what are you
well, look,
talking about?
here's the thing. Everybody's got to fight back on this language stuff, because this is the George Orwell stuff, and the fact is that once you start allowing people to do this doublespeak stuff, it's gone. Your entire basis of everything is gone, because you can't even talk about stuff anymore because the words don't mean the same thing.
And what's interesting to me is, I would advise, look, you can get the book for probably nothing. I don't even know, it's not online, but it's 1984.
Right.
You should read the book. It's a short read.
Yeah, I haven't actually read it.
Oh.
And I also, I heard we're closer to Brave New World than we are to...
Again, that's another one.
Right.
You can read that.
I read
the
that
thing
one.
about Brave New World, it's more like Brazil.
Okay.
Now, that's a great movie, Brazil. Yeah. And I don't know if it's online or not. I mean, it might cost you $3 or $4 to see it. But no, those are two books you should read. But 1984 is really, it's beyond scary. And it's a short read. It's not like having to read Atlas Shrugged, for instance. You know,
yeah. Oh, I've read the Cliff's Notes of it.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Hey, I was an English major.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. Well, that's one thing I learned. My English teachers said, I've read the book, and if you think the Cliff Notes, we didn't have Cliff Notes then, I forget what it was, but we had classic comics or something, and he said, if you think the questions on the quiz are going to be anything out of that, you're crazy.
Sure. Yeah. Well, the Cliff Notes do a pretty good job, I'll tell you. All right, I guess that's it. I guess we'll leave it at that for today. I'll do a quick science update as we're getting out of here. This is kind of cool. This is just a little... This is just a little video of this new car that they are driving. They're testing out. I mean, this is a. Let's see. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Oops. Dang it. Okay, so this guy is driving this car, and they cleared out the roads. And
this is not the 330 miles.
Yes, this is.
Okay.
This guy takes this car up to 330 miles an hour.
What a fool!
What are you talking about?
Talk about risky behavior.
Well, he's the race car driver.
I know. Yeah. Well.
But I mean, look at how smooth this ride is. I mean, you can see it's not like this guy is taking big bumps, and I mean, this is just...
What is this, Bonneville Salt Flats, or where is this?
No, they like cleared out some highway to do the test.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, it's way out in the middle of nowhere, but still.
Look at that, 305.
Well, this is the kilometers on the right. It gets up to 500 kilometers on mountain.
Okay, oh right, yeah.
But, I mean, just...
Is this pedal to the metal?
I don't know. I mean, when you hear the gear changes and stuff, it sounds so smooth. It feels like this guy's got plenty of room left. And I mean, and in fact, he does say that I think they took it up a little faster. Oh no, that's right. The 331 was. Yeah, he said he had some more room to go.
Well, I think he said it's starting to lift.
Oh, okay.
He said he could feel it kind of starting to lift off.
Man, when that thing lifts off, woo!
I'm telling you.
At 330 miles an hour?
He's gonna say it. You know when you see those dragsters that do
right.
a quarter mile, and they go up, this would go up 1,000 feet in the air.
Yeah, I mean seriously, it would take off. I wonder how much this car weighs. It was so stable. But anyway.
You think about the aerodynamics though of making sure it holds on the road.
It must have been. I mean,
they wind tunnel
so
test that to
smooth.
be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Whew, man. But anyway, technology. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Take that on the Autobahn.
In
yeah. Germany.
Oh man. Oh man. How much fun would that be? All right. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back in a few days. The 27th, 8th.
Well, when next we come back, we will be less than a week until the election.
All right, so we'll be almost halfway through the election by that point.
Not quite, but yeah. Well, it is interesting that the number of absentee ballots is skyrocketed.
Well, yeah, I mean, you'd expect that. People are staying at home, so.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you soon.